Alright guys, out in the garage today messing around with the Mustang. I've got a cool new product I want to show you guys from Cobraengineering. It's a coolant crossover delete kit that he's coming out with. Currently it is in a prototype stage, I guess you would say. So he's still making some small changes and stuff like that before he actually releases it completely to the public. But I want to show you this thing real quick. So here's what we got going on. He comes with a thermostat housing, and it comes with some blocks that go in the back, and that's how I've got mine routed right now. Now I'm going to throw some stuff up here on the screen real quick where it shows the blocks a little bit better and it shows the thermostat housing a little bit better. Alright, got you all mounted up here. If you look up here in the corner, actually I'm just going to put a picture up of the Cobraengineering setup. The two blocks that go on the head will have O-rings in the bottom, and it will just pretty much simply just go straight down the top of the head. So you got to do a little bit of twisting. Make sure you put a little bit of grease on them so that way they go in there nice and easy. It comes with bolts as well. Currently in the state that he gave me this kit, it did not come with the AN fittings or nothing like that. I think going forward he is going to do that. He's going to have a full kit with the hoses and everything, which is pretty cool for everybody who wants a little plug play deal. I think he's trying to work out the whole cost situation right now. But the two blocks that go on the head, they have 12 ORB fitting size, so you got to have a 12 ORB going to a 12 AN male or a 10 AN male, depending on what you want to use for your coolant crossover hose size. I suggest going with the 12 AN, bigger is always better in that situation. Then on the bottom of the blocks, you will have one sensor port where you can use, on the driver's side, you can use your factory coolant temperature sensor, and then on the driver's side, or the passenger side, rather, you can use either another temperature sensor, or for us aftermarket ECU guys, for what I'm going to use it for is going to be a pressure sensor, so I can keep an eye on whether I lift the head or something like that in a boosted situation. Now the thermostat housing itself is a very, very neat deal, okay? And what I mean by very neat is I don't think anybody has yet came out with a coolant crossover delete kit with a thermostat housing where it has the bypass hose built in. And what that means is that there's no longer you have to go out and buy you a thermostat and drill you an 1/8 inch hole in it, or 3 or 4 of them, you know. So the bypass is already there, which makes it really good. So now all you gotta do is just throw a thermostat in it. And speaking of thermostat, this thing uses a stock GM 350 thermostat, guys. So it's pretty well readily available. I'm having a problem trying to find a 170. If any of you guys know where a 170 thermostat is, please hit me down below, because I need a 170 instead of a 160. It seems like all the 180s don't open until real late, but I digress on that situation. Back to the thermostat housing. The thermostat housing, when you use the GM thermostat, does not use the factory GM thermostat housing or thermostat O-ring that goes on the outside of it. It does not use that. It will not fit in the housing. So what he suggests is that, well, I'm going to try it without the gasket first, but I think I'm going to have to go to town and buy me a O-ring to fit the outside of it. And he said going forward he will include the O-ring with the kit. Like I said, this is a prototype deal, so once it comes out to you guys, it'll all be great and ready to go. So it's going to come with the O-ring and all that. And I also noticed something else with this kit as I was messing with it, and I had to ask James a question. I really sounded like I was stupid when I was asked this question, but there is all the holes that are threaded on the thermostat housing where it comes apart. Well, on the big part of the thermostat housing, all the holes are drilled except for one. And then that one hole that wasn't drilled, on the other side, the hole was drilled, but the rest of the other holes were not drilled. And he said he did this on purpose to line up, to make sure that the housing, when you put it together, it lines up so those coolant bypass holes will actually line up right and correct. Everything looks like it's going to seal up good, so I don't think that'll be a problem. Also on the inside of the housing itself, the thermostat housing, there is an O-ring that goes around the outside of it that helps seal everything together, which seems like it's going to work out really well. As you've seen, it already makes the car look a lot cleaner, and it's really easy to get this stuff, you know, to work. Let me show you. Alright, so here's what we're going to be replacing, is this right here. It's fairly simple to get out. Sometimes they're a little bit stuck because they've been in so long, so you got to give it a pretty good yank. You're going to undo the bolts down by the blower that go down below the blower. They're a little bit of a pain, but take your time, you'll get it. I believe I used a 1/4 inch ratchet on this side, on the driver's side, with a swivel and stuff, and got it out. Over here, was not so fortunate. I had to use a wrench, and you can't use a ratchet wrench or nothing like that. You have to just use a regular wrench. Undo the front 2 bolts as well that go on the timing cover, and that's all. That is all that all the bolts you gotta take out. So this thing is sitting down in here, kind of like this. And when you undo the timing cover bolts, you'll get a lot of movement, and you'll just have to wiggle it and pull up out, and you may or may not be able to get it out from underneath the blower in one unit. No big deal. You just get it out as far as you can, and you just take each side and twist them opposite directions and pull, and this piece right here will come apart and it pulls out real easy. So onto the blocks. They are fairly simple as well. All you gotta do with those blocks is put a little grease on the O-ring. Once you get a little grease on the O-ring, once you get a little bit of a grease on the O-ring, then you just kind of twist and push down with some pressure. They are really tight, so you will have to push down quite hard. But be careful and not nick the O-ring going down into the block, or if you do, it'll start leaking, obviously. The bolts he includes will fit the driver's side, the passenger side. If you're using the factory intercooler adapter plate from the factory, where the barb hose come out for the intercooler, it is a pain to get the bolt that he had on the passenger side to fit or work. So what I had to do was I had to put a nut on that bolt and use my Dremel and cut it down a little bit to get it up in there, so I could actually not have to take more stuff apart on the engine. And I was not about to take a bunch of crap off the front of the engine to do that right now. So all I did was just cut that bolt down, and that prevented me from having to take off the adapter plate, the factory adapter plate for the intercooler. And it worked out just fine. I had to use a 10mm wrench. And I think that's about it on that. Obviously, this is pretty self-explanatory. And the reason why you do not see a radiator fill spot yet is because over here, I'm gonna take this radiator out and I'm gonna put a radiator cap over here. I'm gonna weld it all on and use that. And then I got a cool looking funnel that I can use that can stack up real high. So that way I won't have no problem with air getting trapped. Pretty neat deal. But if you got factory stuff, obviously it still works pretty much the same. Then let's see what else we got here. All the hose that I used was a really expensive hose. It was an Ultra Pro hose from Earl's. And the reason why I went with that was because at the time I believed that it was made in the USA. I still think it is. I'm not 100% on that, so don't hold me to it. And I also wanted to go with these crimp-on style hose ends because it just cleans everything up. It's not big and gaudy. The hose is real flexible, easy to work with. You don't have to use any kind of special tools. All you need is a utility knife to cut it, and it works out really well. And then I just take it to my local machine shop, or local speed shop, Jesse's Garage down in Bowling Green. He crimped all these on for me. I think it was like $10 a hose or something like that. I'm not really sure on the price on that. I think it was $10 a hose though. And it only took me about 10-15 minutes. So the process of getting all this on is real simple. Also, if you just don't want to mess with the adapter plate, I suggest getting with James at Cobraengineering and just buy his adapter plate if you're using the stock intercooler, or get with J2 Fab and do his upgraded intercooler where he does the 1-inch flow mod and all that stuff, or he actually has a new intercooler for this that's particularly just made with the 1-inch size hose already done up, which is really nice. So that's basically all there is to this kit, guys. It's really simple, and I hope this helps you guys out. And if you don't care, go down, hit that like, the subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously, and we're trying to get to 1,000, so help us push to 1,000 subscribers. And until next time, guys, we'll talk at you later, okay? See ya.